this is Arunava Chaudhuri, and you are on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot. A lot has been said in the last few days since the AFF announced the India squad for the upcoming friendly against Maldives and the AFC Asian Cup 2027 qualifier against Bangladesh. And the one topic which has overshadowed everything else is the comeback of former India captain and key national team striker Sunil Chhetri. Sunil is 40 years old, and it doesn't show Indian football in a good light that an elder statesman has to be called back to the national team because there's no one actually to replace him or no one near to replace him. And he's had his best season in 4, 5, 6 years. So today I want to ask the question, what do I think is needed to be the lead striker of the Indian national team? But before coming to that, the one point which is very, very clear to me is there is not one type of striker that could, should, needs to replace Sunil Chhetri. Anyone with a knack for goals, with the capabilities of creating chances and space for himself and his teammates, someone who's got a certain level of physicality, some level of game intelligence, some level of basics, I'm fine with that. If someone has all of this, wow, great, ideal. But we have to look at the reality of where we stand at this moment. I go back to the last 27 years nearly that I have been closely following, covering, looking at Indian football, and I have seen 3 different strikers in all these years. Bhaichung Bhutia was around, Vijayan was around, and later on a certain Sunil Chhetri came around. And to me there is one thing which I understand and recognize. Vijayan is a gifted talent. I've not seen someone with the technical capabilities of an Vijayan. Meanwhile, Bhaichung Bhutia and Sunil Chhetri have worked very, very hard to get to the level that they got to. Bhaichung Bhutia's talent was recognized early on, and Bhaichung became what he became because of his time in England at Bury. Sunil is a different story. Sunil, of course, was picked up by Mohun Bagan as a teenager, didn't make it, went to JCT, resurrected his career, went to the US, didn't make it, went to Portugal, got told, you know what, you're actually not good enough, and he was already India captain by then. But those experiences made the man that Sunil Chhetri is today. So therefore, when I go back to the question that I wanted to answer, what would I like to see in a new India striker, is that maybe there is someone out there that we might not be even consider at the moment as someone to be a future India number 9. Sunil Chhetri is a very good example. If you ask me 21 years ago, if you told me that Sunil Chhetri still would be playing today, that Sunil Chhetri would be the man of records for Indian football, I would have most probably not agreed to that. Because when Sunil came around, there were strikers like Vimal Pariyar, Lalan Puya, Oshim Bisar, players who were ahead of him in the pecking order. If I look at the current situation, then we have to fall back to either a Manveer Singh, an Irfan Yadwad, or maybe a Rahim Ali. I know a lot of you talk about David, but I've seen him, and the few times that I've seen him, I feel there is something, or there are quite a few things that he needs to work on to be someone to be considered for international football. I'm not saying he cannot do it, but at the moment, I don't feel he's ready for it. I know you'll say, oh, you know what? He's opportunistic, he scores goals. But there's a certain level of physicality which I think is needed. Some of you might say, hey, but that wasn't the case with Bhaichung or with Sunil. Of course it was. If you see the way that Bhaichung and Sunil have been working on their opponents, Indians and foreigners over the years, That is something which I feel is missing in David's game. And the others, even more. Lack of height is a bit of a problem. But therefore, I fall back. Manveer, Irfan, Rahim, those would be my first picks, my first choices as a striker. And if we have to go back to the false number 9, I'm not a fan of it, to be very honest. I think a real number 9 is still a real number 9. But if players are not playing as strikers in their clubs, then the national team coach, in this case, Manolo Marquez, needs to find solutions to that problem. And that's not easy. It is not an easy problem, because we were very, very lucky over the last 25, 26 years. As I say, I've been closely following Indian football, because the transition was quite natural from an Vijayan to Bhaichung Bhutia. They started off together. And then from a Bhaichung to Sunil, they started off together. And then Bhaichung first, and then Sunil took over. I hope we find a suitable number 9 to lead India's lines and then, take us to greater heights. But, it's not easy. You can't genetically engineer a striker who's going to take care of our woes, of our problems. But hope is what is left. And let's see. As I said, needs to be a lot of work done. And maybe there is a name that you or I am not thinking about, that he could take over as our new number 9. What do you think? You agree? Do you disagree with me? Do you have some points to add? Write them down as always in the comments below. Like, share and subscribe Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias. Visit arunfoot.com. And I'll be back very, very soon. So Arunava Chaudhuri signing off. Bye for now.